Hey guys, it's Tessa. So this video is a continuation.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Hey guys, it's Tessa. This is a continuation of last week's video. I'm still working on the Halibut sweater by Caitlin Hunter.
Sorry.
I'm still working on the Halibut sweater by Caitlin Hunter. I believe in the last video, I'd only gotten through a couple rows of the color work. I ended up doing 2 more rows of it last night. So you can see it kind of coming together now. I'm only 4 rows in, but kind of my daily goal is to get through 5 to 10 rows of it. I know it's not going to be nearly as achievable during the work week, but it's still somewhat achievable right now. So today's goal, again, is just 5 to 10. I'm probably going to try to get to at least row 10 of the color work so that I can just do it a little bit easier in the sets of 5 to 10. But yeah, that is where we are starting this video. Again, I'm really loving working with this yarn, surprisingly. It's also much scratchier pre-blocking than post-blocking because my swatch, wherever I put that, is so much softer. Like, so much softer than what I'm currently working on. I don't know, because I don't do a lot of knitting, so I don't deal with a lot of the natural fibers really. But I don't know if that's because the mohair got to bloom, or if that's because I used the wool wash on it. I don't know what made it softer, but it's much softer on the swatch than it is currently being worked up. Which I don't really mind. It's not like this feels scratchy either. It's just like rougher in texture, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys will be able to see, but I can kind of see it. But where I did all of my short rows, I can see that it's like buckling a little bit. I think my tension was just kind of funny, which is a little annoying, but honestly I can't really see it unless I'm looking for it, so I think it's fine for now. But yeah, I'm gonna get started on working on this now, and I'll check in probably after another couple rows. I don't know, the color work, the problem I'm currently having is doing color work at the same time as increases is really hard for me for some reason. I've already messed up once, but I was able to fix it without really having any problems. But regardless, I won't be surprised if I have more problems or do that more times. But yeah, I think I'm also gonna switch to my longer cables soon. I'm currently on my like 20-inch ones, or they're like 16-inch ones. I don't really know. I'm on my second largest size. And so I have 2 more cables I can go up to. So I'll probably go up cables after this next row, because we're gonna do this current row that I'm about to start does not have increases, but the following one does. So I'll probably switch cables after I do that next increase row, and we'll go from there. But yeah, that's where we're at so far. I just completed row 5 of the color work. Oh gosh. And I did end up switching to my longer cable because the bunching was just getting kind of insane. I'm also starting to get a little bit worried about my floats being too tight. Like I can stretch the fabric and it stretches a little bit. I'm just worried. I think I'm just being paranoid because, again, this is my first color work project, or large scale color work project. So I'm just a little worried that it's just not gonna work out. I'm gonna spend all this time and it's not gonna work out. But my hopes are so high, it should be fine. Worst case scenario, I just have to kind of aggressively block it, and that's gonna have to be fine. But I think my goal for today is to get to row 10, now that I'm at row 5, and then kind of stop there, I think. Okay, so it's the end of night 3, I think. Yeah, so end of night 3, and I got the first 10 rows of color work done. But I wanted to show you how I've been tracking this. And so on an iPad, if you use OneDrive, you have the ability to annotate any of your documents that are PDFs. So that's basically what I've been doing. I've been using the highlight feature to highlight each row I've completed, so it's easier for me to see what the next row looks like. And there are 65 total rows of the colorwork pattern. I think I said this, I don't remember. So I have 55 rows left to go on it. I still hate increasing, while I'm doing color work, and I've made one mistake or two mistakes so far with the increases, but I was able to rectify it pretty easily, so luckily. But yeah, so next steps are to get through by the end of the week, so on Friday I'm doing 5 rows a day. I'd like to get to row 35 by the end of this week, which I think is feasible, but I'm not going to push myself to do that either. Just got to row 15 of the colorwork pattern. I did end up dropping one stitch at some point. I think I was on like row 13 when I noticed it, and I had dropped all the way back to like row 9. I was able to fix it luckily with no real problems because of all these floats. Alright, so last night I was able to get through row 18 of the fish sweater colorwork pattern. We started the fish tail finally. Row 19 currently. Here's a better look at the fish tail that we've started. I'm getting a little nervous. Even though, okay. I don't do a lot of knitting, as you know, but I did my swatch and everything turned out, you know, within gauge, right? Well, I blocked that swatch as well. I wet blocked it, but I'm also now, I decided to take my ruler and kind of measure the stitches to see how I'm doing. And according to this, I'm hitting gauge lengthwise but not widthwise. For 1 inch, I'm hitting 7 stitches wide when I should be only hitting that for length, which is making me a little nervous. But when I like stretch out the stitches a little bit, it gets closer to gauge. I'm closer to like 5.5 stitches per inch. So I'm a little nervous that the color work is way too tight and I'm gonna have to redo the whole thing. So I think my plan is to do all the color work, put my yarn or put the live stitches on like a safety or a lifeline and try it on and go from there. Will it suck to have to redo all that work? Yeah, but according to my swatch, everything should be fine. Everything should hit fine. Like if I can show you. So you'll see these stitches are a little bit larger or on the larger side. Yeah. Well, let me look at the fish pattern again. They're very clearly much smaller than each other. From the swatch to the actual pattern. You can't see that. I'm struggling, okay? So see, these stitches are much larger each comparative to like these stitches or these ones. So it makes me a little nervous, but again, that's post-blocking and this isn't post-blocking. So my thought is, once I get all the color work done, I'm gonna put a lifeline in and block the entirety of the color work, I think. See how it's looking and go from there. Just finished row 25. 24 was kind of stressful because the increase for it had me do the increase stitch as my second color, which I'd never done before. But I think it ended up working out fine, surprisingly, with no real problems. So the last time you and I spoke that you saw was the intro for this video. I got to row 35 of the color work. It was going fantastic. It was going amazing. And then I realized I hated it. I didn't like the way the collar was looking. I think I made it too tall, and because I didn't downsize my needles, I think it was just sitting weird. When I tried it on, it felt way too oversized, so I was really worried that it was going to burn through all my yarn before I could actually finish it. And with that, I made a couple mistakes in the first like 10-15 rows of the color work for the increasing that I wasn't liking the way I know it was going to sit. Because the increases, instead of having a stitch in the middle, I was increasing on the two ends. So whatever stitch was in the middle there would cause a bump or an issue in the finished garment. So I ripped the whole thing out. Which is really scary to say since I got to row 35 of 65 of the color work, but I ripped it all out. I also got brand new needles and I was like, well, if I'm gonna start over anyway, I might as well use those instead. So I am. But we are currently working from both of these guys. I'm on row 5 for the color work. And I'm gonna show you the couple things I changed. So you'll see first, this collar, not nearly as tall. And I used my smallest needles on this new set, which I believe was a 2.75 or a 3, I'm not exactly sure. But these needles are the Lykke needles, Lykke. They were on sale on Amazon, so I was like, if they're 40 bucks cheaper right now, I might as well get them. So I did. And again, I'm only on row 4. I'm about to start row 5 of the Colorwork. You can't even really see it's coming together yet, but yeah, we are starting anew. It's taken me a couple days to get back to this point, but main goal now is to get through the Colorwork. I'm going to check in at every 10 rows because I feel like it was way too many clips initially, but every 10 rows I'll check in, I'll show my progress and kind of talk about how far along or how long it took me to get that far. Okay, so I lied again. I was supposed to check in every 10 rows, I think I said. I figured I'm just going to show you all those clips anyway, and this video just won't make a lot of sense, and that's fine. All you really care about anyway is the Colorwork. So, with that being said, I just finished row 30 of the Colorwork, meaning I'm just about, or just under about halfway. I think there's 64 or 65 rows of Colorwork. So I'm just about halfway, if not a little bit before halfway. And I have only the final 2 repeats, or the final 2 increases left. So my goal is, today's Thursday, I'm hoping by Sunday I can get through all the Colorwork. That's my new goal, I think. I'm going to check in again once I've finished all the increases, because that puts us at right about row 40. So yeah, here's again a quick glance of where we're at. I'm still on the first ball of my secondary color, and I think I just got to ball 2 of the main color. Overall, I think it's turning out really nice. I, at the beginning, was catching all of my floats every 5 to 7 stitches. And then that just became a little too high maintenance for me. And I wasn't loving the way my floats were catching anyway. So I stopped catching all of my floats altogether. So hopefully that still makes it fine during the blocking process, which we'll find out about that. But yeah, so I will check it again once we are through row 40. All right, so it is now Saturday, and I've gotten through row 40. Fish is coming together. Row 41 is the final row of increases, and I think I mentioned this previously, but for the final row of increases, it's just going to be at the start of the repeat, and not also at the end. It's just to give us an even number of stitches, because we did this entire way with an odd number of stitches to center the whole fish piece. So I'm gonna get through row 41, and then I think I want to get through row 50 today. It's currently about 12:15, so I think I have a hair appointment as well later. But I think I can get through at least 3 or 4 more rows now, and then just kind of grind after my hair appointment, I think. I would really like to get all of this Colorwork done by the end of day Sunday. I don't think that's possible, but that's my goal. I think Wednesday by the latest is when I'll have it done, honestly, because it really doesn't take me too long. It's just each row is 17 repeats, so that's what takes a bit. So I am gonna get back on this guy, and I will check in again at row 50. So, as you can see, I finished the fish. I know I said I would check in at row 50, but I was grinding this out, okay? I had to get it done. But I finished all of the fish, and I've done a couple rows of the stitching afterwards. There we go. So the fish are finished. I've done a couple of the rows after the completion of the chart. It wants me to do a total of 8 rows. I don't think I'm gonna do that. Currently where this is sitting, I think I should split for the sleeves sooner than 8 rows. I think I'm on row 4, but like currently it's almost to my elbows already. So based on that alone and how it's sitting in the back here, I think I might only do a couple extra rows, so like 3 or 4 more rows, or 2 or 3 more rows, instead of the, I think I said 8, I meant to say 10, it wants me to do a total of 10 rows. Instead of the 10, I think I might just do a total of like 6 or 7, just because I don't think I need the additional length there. But worst case scenario, I just have to frog it back. But I think that is where we're gonna end this video. Next video is going to be all about working on the body and the sleeves for this pattern, and then I'll be done. So if you have any questions about this pattern, let me know. If not, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.